Hello and welcome to Music Motors, and welcome to the 2018 BMW M140. Now, to start off with, the 140 is the follow-on from the 135i, which was a superbly well-selling car for BMW. In fact, I'd say it makes up a very good portion of sales in total, but the 140 gives it a little bit of a power increase, so now it's 335 brake horsepower with 370 foot-pounds of torque. You'll find yourself getting to 62 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds in the ZF, 4.8 seconds in the manual, and topping out at a limited 155. You take the limiter off and you'll propel past it. But I find the 140 probably the best value for money car BMW have, because prices start at 36. This one's 42 with a host of options, including like the adaptive dampeners and ProNav, Harman Kardon. But for 36 you get a car which can do all that with just a few less amenities on the inside. On this rather wet and miserable day, it's fuel economy. When you buy a M140, you probably don't think fuel economy at any point, because, well, it's an inline six, it's turboed, it's rear wheel drive, it's a performance car with as near to 350 brake as you want, really. The fuel economy is important because these are relatively cheap to buy on PCP. So what do they get? What can they get around town? So that's the first bit. Town driving. Let's see. .1, and that was a proper around town. There was a lot of start-stop, there was a lot of 30s to 40s. That was a real around town test, and to be able to get close to 30s, you want, that was an Eco Pro. I wasn't especially driving massively eco-efficiently, but that was it's not busy, it's not sat in central London traffic, and that, you know, if you're sat still, this will obviously eat more fuel than a 4-pot because it's an inline 6, but to be able to get that around town, really good. Now, the beauty for me with the 140 starts with the outside, and the fact that for the most part this could just be a completely standard 1 Series. The 1 Series platform is a very common car, and realistically if you had one with an M Sport Plus pack and you're looking at having the blue calipers on the front and having some nice wheels, although these are M-like specific wheels, in reality you're not really going to be able to tell the difference. The only other thing that gives it away, the front are the grey wing mirrors, but you can have them colour coded, and at the back the exhaust, but that's it. That's the only other thing that really stands out. This is a bit of a sleeper. You could look at it and think it's just a 120D, and you're thinking, okay, 120D's good enough. What are they, 170, 180 brake horsepower? But this one's got, 335 brake horsepower still with the rear wheel drive platform. So for the most part, the outside is sleeper. It's still a great looking car. The 1 Series has always been a great looking car, and it has really sharp lines. The alloys are, well, it's great to see they have some meat on them, because on UK roads you need a bit of meat to deal with the potholes and things that are really, really low profile. For instance, things like a Civic Type R, you do constantly worry about. You join me in the passenger seat for the M140 because the weather is atrocious. Cold, wet and windy. But now it's time to test luggage capability. Golf R, Golf GTI, superb amounts of luggage capability. The Civic Type R, epic amounts of luggage capability. But how does the M140i do? Because it's a hot hatch and it's got to be able to take at least some shopping. The plain and simple truth is that it's got a normal amount of boot space. It's not going to be any touch on the Civic Type R. It's a slightly longer car, especially considering this is a 3-door, but the boot is a reasonable size. It's taken all my basic essentials. The base is about to have to go back there, but aside from that, everything goes in. It's a really usable boot space, good size. This one's got the nets if you've got anything that you want to tie down, but all my stuff keeps itself in place. Move inside and you get to a tried and trusted interior that works. The 1 Series has always had a fantastic interior and gives you great headroom front and back for anyone of any size, but
with the M version of it, really they've just kind of fancied stuff up, but realistically this could just be any one of the other 1 Series variants, but obviously with a bit more noise. As for inside, with the amenities and the comfort that you get, well, this one has professional navigation and it also has Harman Kardon. Now, normally I don't rate Harman Kardon in BMWs, but because this is a smaller cabin, it really does very well. The sub is very punchy, the top end is very clear, the mid-range could do with a bit more tweaking, but generally it's a lot better than I normally give Harman Kardon credit for. Visibility is superb the whole way around, big wing mirrors. The only downside really, and it goes with the 1 Series in general, is the fact that the rear pillar at the back is a little bit thicker and you have a little rear window. The seats are extremely comfortable and hold you, especially with adaptive bolsters. And if you add in a few extra amenities like the heated steering wheel, which is a £160 option, you suddenly find yourself in a place which is super comfortable, super practical, and with ISOFIX in the back, a very good family car.
Final economy test. Now this is a proper gig test, so as you can see in the back there, base has had to go there as a result of there not really being enough space in the boot. But this is a proper gig test. This is about 46 to 50 miles each way, and it's mainly motorway and A road basically. Short while later, and after a lot of detours because, well, Thursday night traffic and this is a big Christmas market that we're playing at, it turned around 33.9. I was expecting more personally, but on a motorway run it's generally fine, but when I got on the back roads and went for an overtake, went for a big overtake to get past a load of people, it really knocks it down really fast, but you can deal with that. If I hadn't had to put my foot down at all, it easily would have cleared 40, easily.
But this isn't just any family car. This is a family car with an obscene amount of performance through the rear wheels. 335 brake horsepower, 370 foot-pounds of torque. That's mega, all through the rear wheels. And it will take you to 62 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds in this spec with a ZF gearbox. It's obviously powered by a 3-litre straight-six turbocharged petrol engine. This is a car which makes not only loads of noise, but loads of smiles. Now, I was really concerned. I've driven these before, and in the wet they can be a bit of a handful, but that's to someone who hasn't driven one before. As you get comfortable with the 140, you kind of learn how to push it and where the variable limits are, but don't be alarmed when it does kick out quite a lot in the wet. There's a lot of power going through those rear wheels. There is a limit point though. While when you're in Sport Plus and you've got sports gearbox engaged, you can really push this round. It does get to a point, it gets to a limit and it snaps. But that's only if you're not expecting it. If you're expecting it, well, you're about to have some fun around the corner. The performance really is typically German and refined, where for instance in the Civic Type R, although it's less power, it's a 20 horsepower down, it feels really savage in the way that it throws you into your seat. This is doing everything that the Civic's doing, slightly faster, and in fact a whole 1 second faster to 62, but it does it in a really comfortable way. Get these remapped and this whole kind of 335 brake is easily going over 400 brake horsepower, because quite often the 135i's that people are having remapped are making 400 plus horsepower, and these on rolling roads on dynos are regularly turning out considerably more than 335 brake horsepower. There was a chap on a forum recently who said he got 350 factory. So from a performance point of view, it's just amazing, and it's a really engaging drive. You're held in your seat, and originally I thought it was a bit of a soft input because I was driving it in Eco Pro because it was wet, and as I got into the sports modes, although you don't get huge amounts of steering feedback, you get enough to let you know what's going on, and the adaptive dampeners, which I think are an essential though an expensive option, really help you hold the road. The only downside really with having a straight 6 3-litre turbo is the fuel economy, because around town, if you drive this how it's supposed to be driven, you're probably only going to be seeing round about 18 to 22 miles per gallon. If you're lucky, on a combined run you'll see something around like 28 to 30, and on an actual run on the motorway sitting at say 60, 65. Owners are reporting up to 45 miles per gallon. And that's real world 45, so the trip's probably reading about 49. But that's not how this car's made to be driven, really, is it? So really, to summarise, this is a car which is really good value for money. £36,000 base price, which you can have in a 3-door or a 5-door variant. And if you have it in the 5-door with the Isofix in the back, it makes a perfect family car that the weekend, if you've got the right options on this car, can also be taken on a track and absolutely rinse anything out there. It's a car which has a really good lock for around town, really good visibility, good boot space, really good boot space. It's a car which gives you ample legroom and height as you need it. It's a car which kind of blends in everywhere, but at the same time, it's a sleeper that can absolutely smash, well, let's be honest, even up to M2s. If you have this remapped properly with some performance mods, the guys at Motec are doing quite a lot of that at the moment, you're looking at a car which is really going to send it to an M2. And that's where the sad finale comes on this. The newer version of the 1 Series, the Hot 1 Series, whatever they're going to call it, isn't going to have a 3-litre straight 6 turbocharged petrol engine. It's likely to be detuned 4-pot. So while it's still going to be hot, it's probably going to be round about the 300 figure at maximum. The issue I think BMW are having is that people are buying M140i's over an M2 or an M240i over an M2 because they can, for a lot less money, get something with the same power. So as a business model, that's not great for them, so it makes sense that the new version isn't going to be anywhere near as good as this. But until then, and all the time you can still buy these, enjoy.